Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Peter Murphy begins now.
Good evening. We'll have all the latest information on the state's coronavirus situation in a moment, but first, a Tasmanian police officer has escaped serious injury after he was knocked to the ground while trying to stop a carjacker. The offender was fleeing police on foot when he stole a four-wheel drive from a car yard in Invermay. Our reporter Sean McComish has more.
Just after 9 this morning, police on a routine patrol in Invermay identified and tried to intercept a stolen vehicle. The driver evaded officers before dumping the vehicle in a nearby back street. 2 men then fled on foot. One was quickly arrested, the other ran into a car yard, where he found a four-wheel drive with the keys in the ignition.
Police attempted to arrest him. The male was armed with a knife and a scuffle ensued, but the offender managed to get the vehicle started and then drove off and knocking a police officer to the ground.
Officers scrambled into action, fanning out across the northern suburbs. The offender remains at large.
He's described as being about 24 years of age, 183 centimetres, slim build. The behaviour of both offenders is really careless and it's dangerous to the public.
Detectives later spoke with shaken staff at the dealership, thankfully spared physical harm.
The staff at the car yard did everything right. They didn't approach the offender unnecessarily. They didn't put themselves in harm's way, which is what we would ask the public to do.
They're also asking the public to help find this car, a red late model Mitsubishi Outlander. Police say it's extremely lucky officers weren't injured in the ordeal. They say they're now following a specific line of inquiry on the identity of the offender.
A 19-year-old Hobart man has pleaded guilty to manslaughter over the death of a UTAS academic at a nightclub in February last year. The Supreme Court heard Beau Wayne Kelly became involved in a drunken altercation with Dr Stuart Williams at Mobius Lounge Bar before fatally striking the 50-year-old in the face. Kelly has been remanded in custody to appear for sentencing on April 9. A tumultuous Term 1 has officially ended for students, but there's new hope for those in Year 12, with support measures announced today. As authorities continue to watch over the coronavirus situation here in Tasmania, there's confirmation tonight of at least one case linked to 2 interstate travellers.
2 interstate visitors toured the sights of Tasmania last month, with an unexpected traveller on board, after returning home testing positive to coronavirus. After the revelations this week, confirmation of another case closely linked to the pair.
This person was employed by a tour group company that hosted the 2 individuals that have been highlighted in the media who had extensive travel around Tasmania.
Not releasing details of where the person worked, but confirming their close contacts are currently in self-isolation. Public Health saying the risk to those in the same place at the same time is low, but to remain vigilant if any symptoms arise.
The people that we are most concerned about, that are most at risk, are the people who've spent significant time through their role as being tour guides or bus drivers, people in those sorts of circumstances.
Our state's total cases now 74, with 2 new cases overnight. One linked to interstate travel, the other a passenger on the Voyager of the Seas cruise ship, confirming we are seeing a reduction in reported cases attributed to the closing of our borders.
Towards the end of last week and the weekend we had a significant spike. We're seeing now slowing of those cases, and that's very reassuring for the Tasmanian community.
Many parents are keeping their children home with attendance rates below 10%. School holidays officially beginning early this afternoon as teachers use an extra week to plan. Term 2 to begin 1 day later, April 28, to help with the transition to online learning.
It is our intention that throughout Term 2, students will continue to learn at home with teachers leading their learning.
It's a crucial time for Year 12 students aiming for university positions. An agreement now reached to help those whose study has been impacted.
We are really concerned to make sure that this year does not disrupt the education of Tasmanian school students and that their pathway to university can be a clear one.
The school recommendation program will enable students to apply for undergraduate courses at the University of Tasmania and be made an offer much earlier in the year based on the recommendation of their school.
Students will be provided with information next term, including eligible courses and how to apply. EBONY, ABBLITT, 7 Tasmania News.
Stay home this weekend. That's the message from police as they ramp up efforts to ensure Tasmanians are obeying tough new restrictions. Thousands of compliance checks have been conducted in the last 10 days alone, with 2 more people arrested for coronavirus-related offences.
On foot and in armoured vehicles, Defence Force soldiers patrol the streets, now a coronavirus battleground.
Seeing a uniform on the street can be somewhat confronting for people, for others it can be comforting.
The ADF, police, SES and TFS forming an alliance, helping check Tasmanians are staying at home, except for essential outings.
In the event that we have a non-compliance or no one's home, we simply note that, we pass it on to police for them to attend.
They've gone door to door, conducting around 3,500 compliance checks in the last week and a half. Police say the compliance rate is high, but some still aren't taking the restrictions seriously.
There will always be some that don't take the message to begin with.
Overnight in Hobart, a man and a woman were arrested and charged in separate incidents for breaking COVID stay-at-home orders. Both are also facing traffic charges.
Not connected, but evading police and committing other offences at the time.
As we enter our first full weekend under the tough new social distancing measures, the message from police is clear.
Don't travel if you don't have to. Don't go to your shacks. Don't go to the East Coast if you don't need to.
Authorities say they will have a heavy presence at tourist hotspots like the Bruny Island Ferry over the coming days. Anyone without a valid excuse to be out runs the risk of a $16,800 fine or 3 months jail. Garth, Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Financial assistance has been announced for many people and businesses so far, but there are still some slipping through the cracks. Tasmanian support groups are calling for help for people living here on visas, saying many are trapped and struggling.
This chemistry student completed his PhD in January with employment prospects ahead, but industry shutdowns due to the pandemic has left the Iranian migrant jobless.
I was supposed to do laboratory teaching and chemistry tutoring for undergraduate students as a casual employee. No undergraduate students, so I lost my job.
Ali says he's now lost a major percentage of his income, and with no government support in hand, the future remains uncertain.
When you don't have safety in your workplace and you don't know if you're gonna have money next month to pay the rent and all of this stuff, is a little bit scary actually, yeah.
Tasmanian support groups now calling on the federal government to offer visa workers temporary welfare assistance.
These folks don't have access to the safety nets that most other Australian workers do have, and those are the JobKeeper and the JobSeeker payments, but also access to Medicare.
Temporary migrants do come to Australia without an expectation of welfare support, but they do come here, work hard and pay their taxes. And I think in such unprecedented times, we do require measures which are unprecedented as well.
Tasmanian hospitality giant Federal Group also seeking support for its 150 visa workers after recently standing down 1,500 local employees.
It would give us the comfort to know that those people are going to be okay for the next little while, and then we can look to re-engage them again as and when our industry starts to pick up in the hopefully not too distant future.
Some would like to go home if they could get home. Others have lost work. They don't know how they're going to put food on the table next week. They don't know how they're going to support their families. They don't know how they're going to continue to be able to pay rent.
Ruby COMMANE, 7 Tasmania News.
There have been reports of Tasmanians being targeted by door-knocking scammers. The Cancer Council warning it's been made aware of at least one instance of someone pretending to be fundraising for the organisation in the Hobart area.
We obviously are funded by the public. We're 90% reliant on public funding and donations, but we don't door knock. It's one of those things that we've never done.
It's another hit for the Cancer Council, which has been forced to cancel one of its major fundraisers, the Relay for Life. The organisation is planning to run its biggest morning tea, though, online to raise money for Tasmanian services. A Tasmanian vineyard is uncorking a new way of connecting with customers after being forced to close to the public. Clover Hill is launching virtual tastings, where wine lovers can have a cellar door experience from the comfort of their living room.
With its cellar door closed, Clover Hill is using social media in the age of social distancing, launching an online tasting where people can hear from the experts as if they were there.
It's a new platform for me, I guess, but I still get to talk about wine, which is what I like to do more than anything else.
Cellar Door manager Ian White is hosting the sessions over a live stream.
Tasmanian Cuvée non-vintage rosé.
Pouring select varieties each week, which viewers can order in advance.
One-on-one tastings, hopefully with the customer at home with a wine in front of them, and we'll do the tasting together.
Up to 15,000 people usually visit Clover Hill each year. The winery hopes the new concept will keep it connected to those customers during the pandemic, especially as international exports tighten, forcing the winery to change tact.
A bit like the Cellar Door experience, it's making us rethink and redevelop markets that are more close to home.
As it turns out, the grapes being harvested here today are for one of the varieties on show tonight, the Pinot Meunier. And here's a fun fact, this variety makes up to a third of plantings in the Champagne region of France. The sessions are being hosted on Instagram and the winery's website each Friday night. The new happy hour. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, the warm weather is well and truly over, with rain, wind and snow all forecast for Tasmania. Parts of the state recorded 100 millimetres of rain yesterday. Up to 30 millimetres is expected in the north and west later tonight. We'll have more details in our weather segment with Jackie, but there are various flood warnings in place for the south and north Esk rivers. Meanwhile, Taswater has told Orford and Triabunna residents to immediately restrict water use. The main pipe from the Prosser water treatment plant has failed. However, the broken section can't be accessed because it's submerged in an overflowing creek due to recent rain. The company is assessing repairs and may use a tanker to transport water. As walk-in customers dry up for many of Tasmania's small businesses, shop owners are now looking to revamp their use of technology. In Hobart, the City Council is offering grants to help businesses set up online stores.
For PINA Angelone, the coronavirus crisis could not have come at a worse time. Her FELLINI shop in Collins Street is filled with the latest Italian winter fashion, stock purchased before the outbreak.
Won't see people coming in to look at these items and purchase these items. So it has basically reduced our business to zero.
The store has a website, but doesn't run an online shop.
We use the online presence, the web page, to really just showcase our labels and to give people a bit of a history of who we were.
That's about to change, with the business one of 27 small retailers already accessing a new Hobart City Council initiative. Grants of $300 are now available to help cover the cost of developing an online shopping platform, allowing them to continue trading.
A lot of businesses have moved online, but there are some businesses that just have been too busy or didn't get around to it.
Council says they're home to a quarter of all Tasmanian businesses, with hopes this funding will prevent many from financially hitting the wall.
Ultimately, yeah, we want them to come back into the city to reopen their shops and to have people walking around and visiting once again.
It's the way that we have to conduct business over the next few months, so we're very thankful, but hope to get that up and running very soon.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Formula 3 ace Alex Peroni is back training in Tasmania after making the great escape from Europe. Peroni beat the cut-off to leave Spain by a matter of hours. Now his job is just to stay fit. Alex Peroni is used to the adrenaline rush of Formula 3, but not one like this.
We got out 3 hours before they started stopping flights out of Spain.
As the pandemic's tentacles stretched across Europe, Peroni had to wait until the Bahrain Grand Prix was officially called off before he could leave his Spanish base.
The first reaction is just like, yeah, you've worked so hard. The whole family has to get this show on the road, and yeah, it's getting cancelled basically. But I mean, there's so many worse people in worse situations, and you got to think about the bigger picture.
Now home in Hobart, Peroni is replicating as much of the real thing as he can. Without a proper simulator, he's left to a home gym to keep race ready.
You can do a lot of neck, which try and simulate G-forces and cardio and strength work.
As Formula 3 follows the F1 calendar, there's still hope a season will go ahead in a shortened format. Peroni's team, Campos Racing, is on standby for when normality returns. For someone who lives life in the fast lane, it's hard to wait around.
Staying fit and trying to stay as focused as I can for when it comes back up. It's just a waiting game, to be honest, and it's about being patient and yeah, we'll see.
AFL Tasmania has paused funding to Tasmania's 7 State League clubs in light of the pandemic. So far, the clubs have received around a third of their grant funding for the year. The State League season has been suspended until at least the end of May.
Good evening. A high of 21 at Hobart today, 19 across Burnie and Devonport, Launceston 20. 23 was the state's top at King Island, 21 across Strawn and Smithton, Ooze 20. On the close-up, cloudy conditions over northern Tasmania, looking partly cloudy elsewhere across the state. Further out, cloud extends from southern Northern Territory through western Queensland, while New South Wales and Victoria are associated with a mid-level trough. Tomorrow shows a cloud front crossing Tasmania during the morning, with a second front moving onto the west coast around midday. Northeast to northwesterly winds tomorrow, 15 to 25 knots, swells up to 5 metres in the west and south and around 1 metre in the north. On to the warnings, and a gale warning is current for the lower east coast and east of Flinders Island for west to southwesterly winds. A strong wind warning for all remaining Tasmanian coastal waters. A warning to sheep graziers is current for most grazing districts. A bushwalkers weather alert for western and central plateau forecast districts for snow as low as 600 metres on Saturday evening, and a road weather alert for heavy rainfall in thunderstorms for northern Tasmania in the early morning. Tomorrow's forecast now: showers across Hobart and Medina, Oatlands 13. In the north, Launceston and Devonport, showers and a possible early storm, Liawini 10. 14 about Burnie and Marrawar tomorrow, possible storm at Strawn. St Helens, showers and 18, 17 and showers across Swansea and Orford. The UV forecast moderate statewide. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast: Sunday, showers clearing from the east by early evening. Monday, showers about the west and south. And Tuesday, showers about the western, central and southern districts. Capital cities, 27 and mostly sunny in Perth tomorrow. Sydney, cloud clearing, and Melbourne expecting showers. And currently Hobart 20, mostly clear, Launceston 17 and Devonport showers increasing. And Murph, just a message to everyone with those weather warnings in place to stay safe, and what a good weekend to stay home.
Yes, thanks Jackie. Staying home is a great idea. Our boys Jack and Lewis left home many years ago, but today I found in their old cupboards a game of Battleship and a big box of Lego, so I'm sorted. That's all our news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Have a nice weekend. Good night.